On my cue, stand by. You're up.
All right, everyone. Welcome to World Soccer Radio on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. I'm Nick Geber, along with Danny Page.
Heyo!
And
What's up, Nick?
Danny, we got another good one today because the big story today is some Miami Magic.
Some Miami Magic as David Beckham really looks to turn around the sporting fortunes of an entire city as far as fans go. Really trying to kind of reinvent the wheel as far as sports in Miami. And I know the Miami Heat are there. They're successful. Let's soccer.
All right, because we're losing Danny. All right, well, anyway, we're going to talk about David Beckham, obviously. We're going to give that one a lot of chat. And we're going to talk about the situation at Swansea with Michael Laudrup leaving. We touched on this a little bit yesterday. This story is not going away. And interestingly enough, right now, the bookkeepers in the Premier League have no manager departing as the next manager. So it looks like we're going to be pretty safe going forwards through to the end of the season. Nick Eber, Danny Page, World Soccer Radio. By the way, big hello to our men and women in uniform listening on the American Forces Radio Network. What a privilege it is to speak to you as we do each and every weeknight from 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Also, of course, if you're listening on one of the many affiliate stations of the Sports Byline USA Radio Network, it's great to be with you. And if you're listening on iHeartRadio or TuneIn.com, or you listen to the podcast on iTunes, or you're watching the video feed on WatchWSR.com, hope you enjoy the show and remember to be with us every weeknight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, the way to find us is on Twitter, at World Soccer Radio. That's at World Soccer Radio. Of course, you can also find us in studio if you have a thing to say, if you have an opinion. We'd love to hear from you. Let's hear from you, Miami. Where are you, Florida? I know you're listening. What do you think about your own Major League Soccer team in Miami? Is it going to succeed? Is it going to fail? Is Brand Beckham enough to make it work for you? 800-878-PLAY. That's 800-878-PLAY. Give us a call in the studio. Let us know what you think, because quite frankly, that's how this show works. That's it in Miami, and the question for you is this. He says no public funding, but everyone says that, and eyebrows are always raised. Would you be prepared to publicly fund a David Beckham stadium? Love to hear from you. 800-878-PLAY. Once again, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. We're going to step aside, take a break. Now, folks, is a great time to use the loo if you have to, because we're going to take a 3-minute break, and we'll be right back to kick it all off on the Sports Byline Network right after this.
Stand by. You're up.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA Radio Network. I am Nick Geber, coming to you here on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network, along with my partner in grime, Mr. Danny Page.
Did you say grime?
I did, yeah, grime.
I just took a shower. Something that wouldn't kill you every couple weeks or something.
Well, you know,
Nick.
Danny, I don't like to do that. I don't like to waste water. I'm ecologically sound in that way.
It's a good thing we can't smell via Skype yet, although it seems that technology is probably on the way someday.
I did see that on Engadget. All right, so the discussion, this show primarily is about the David Beckham experiment in Miami.
Someone who smells really good. By
I like to call this Miami Spice because is he good? First of all, is he going to wear the nice nappy white suits, Danny?
Are you kidding? Cream suits? That's the way to go. That's what you do in Miami. I own 2 of them for the trip I took to South Beach last year. And yes, pastels are in as well on South Beach. You got to have the yellow, the pink, the light blue. David Beckham will be a perfect fit for Miami. The question is not about him. It's about Major League Soccer and how this franchise will fit. And we want to hear from you guys today. Our question of the day is, what should they name the franchise? I think the clubhouse leader right now is Miami Spice. Geber, you're brilliant, man.
Hey, you know, what can I say? All right, well, let's go to the phones at 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY, where we have our first caller of the day from Florida, I believe. His Twitter handle is at CFTV, of course, or something like that. Nowadays, by the way, Danny, nobody needs a real name. We can just go by our Twitter handles. All right, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? How are you?
All right, what's going on? It's Chris, right?
Yeah, it's Chris. How are you guys?
Good.
I just wanted to say I'm pretty stoked. I'm live up here in Tampa, and I'm originally from Detroit, so I've never had like a rooting interest in MLS. It's always just been kind of something that exists, and I like soccer. I watch it. I enjoy what MLS I had, but I've never had a rooting interest. And now, within the next couple of years, we're gonna have the option
Idaho next
to choose from, which is pretty awesome. Especially when you consider we have a couple of regional cable networks
YouTube,
same
place.
Sun Sports and Fox Sports Florida, so
Yep.
we should be getting like the majority of the games on TV, which is good for the game in the state of Florida. I don't know how well it's going to do in Miami, just because it is a pretty crummy sports market. If it's hot and people, if it's the hot thing, people will come out. If it's not like the Marlins, they're not going to come out. You look at the Miami Hurricanes. They, when they were winning titles, that was one of the hottest tickets in town, huge. Now you watch like some of their games and it's a ghost town in November when they're not winning. So it's going to be tough, with the market and like just the placement of the stadium. Like if you put it down on South Beach, well, then you're cutting, the people that live in the northern counties off.
It's supposed to be downtown,
myself,
Chris. They actually revealed that today, and I think that's a big benefit because I've been to the BCS championship game out at Sun Life Stadium a couple times, and I'll tell you what, that is a hike out there. So I think a downtown stadium, just like the Miami Heat's arena, I think that's a nice benefit for this team right off the bat.
Actually, guys, they have said that it's going to be maybe downtown or in the Port District.
Oh, okay.
They're not exactly sure, and this is one of the issues that we're going to take up a little later on in the show. Exactly. Chris brings up a wonderful point, and I want to touch on this very briefly.
Yeah, it's like the demographics are interesting. You have Miami, and then you have Palm Beach County and the Lauderdale area as well, which is. Those northern counties are where the suburbanites and where a lot of the, white, upper class, middle class people live. And, are they going to want to make the 45-minute or hour and a half drive down to Miami Beach, on a Wednesday night for a midweek game? I think they should do all right on weekends, but of course, I think most MLS teams are going to have trouble drawing on weekends.
Well, it's not so much the draw, actually. I mean, demographically, Miami is very interesting. But you mentioned that there are other teams in Florida, and of course, Florida is a good football market. We've seen that with Orlando City, who have done so well in USL Pro. We see that with the Tampa Bay Rowdies in the NASL. I mean, it is a good football market. These franchises have spent
wonderful.
They've spent many years building a rabid supporters base. They've had a lot of outreach into the community. By the way, Kartik Krishnaiyer, who we have on this show on a regular basis, has been instrumental in Florida soccer and its growth in working with these lower division clubs. This is my concern about this particular franchise, is the fact that we're coming to a situation now where you have a brand new franchise that has to build a supporters base. There isn't an existing supporters base, and as soon as that big stadium is built, trust me, it's a ticking time bomb. They've got to put butts in seats.
Well, they're going to have to
Ed,
use
Idaho, same subject.
Players. That's going to be the key, is bringing in, it being Beckham and friends, basically, and using his name and Simon Fuller and all of his connections and everything, and the way that they're able to generate money and media, and try to bring, a guy like, in 4 or 5 years, maybe like an Ozil over. Because, I mean, you got to think, this is they are set up pretty nice down here.
Yep.
Because there's no state income tax. There's the beautiful weather. It's just, Miami and Orlando are a great draw. If you're an aging superstar, why would you not want to finish your career in Florida? If you've got a family, why not go to Orlando and do live the Orlando life for a few years before you end up, going back to Europe or whatever, or just settling down here. I think it's a great thing that's going on, and I think, I know myself, I'm hoping that, maybe they'll do busing or vans or something.
Ed, we'll wait through break.
My buddies will decide to, trek down to 3 or 4 games. And another thing, the Rowdies are a great night out, and it does suck that I live in Tampa, that we are kind of going to get screwed in terms of having an MLS side. I know a lot of my friends who are huge Rowdy fans aren't going to support Orlando, or Miami at all. Just continue supporting the Rowdies. I have friends that refuse to do anything with Orlando just because there's a whole Tampa Orlando.
But Chris,
going with, Beckham's team.
That's what you want. We want the rivalries. It's the rivalries that equate to passion. It's passion that equate to butts and seats. So that's all good. Hey, listen, Chris, we have to move on. Thank you so much for the call. We really appreciate it. As always, here on World Soccer Radio on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. The discussion right now, of course, Florida Soccer, the addition of a Miami franchise, run, owned, managed, however you want to have it, by David Beckham. That's going to be my next question. Who exactly is going to be running the show there? Is it Beckham? Is it someone else? Is he just a figurehead? So there's lots of LeBron, lots of questions to get to. 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. Find us on Twitter at World Soccer Radio. That's at World Soccer Radio. We're going to have to go to a break in a minute. When we come back, we're going to go back to the phones. We have callers stacked up. We're going to get to Ed in Idaho, I believe, Idaho United. So
go early.
All right, we're going to go a little early so we can come back early, Danny, because there's so much to get
Love
to.
it.
All right,
Love it.
World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline, USA Radio Network. Nick and Danny with you. We'll be right back after this.
So your ex got a mansion where you kick it on the hill. Your boy comes to see you, he's your Hollywood thrill. He's a Spanish fly.
All right, welcome back to the show. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA Radio Network.
Whippoorwills call.
Little vocal there.
I like this.
Yeah, Nick and Danny with you. The discussion this show at 800-878-PLAY or Twitter at World Soccer Radio. Well, it's all about the Miami Spice, the Miami Sound Machine, or should we say with Don Garber there, the Miami Spin Machine, because the Spin Meister was down there today for the unveiling. Fascinating stuff as David Beckham.
Miami Sound Machine, dude. Did you really?
I did. I went there.
That's amazing.
Hey, Danny.
Man.
I have to say, what was fascinating to me was not what David Beckham said he has, but what he said he didn't have. The announcement today was not about a franchise in Miami. The announcement today was not about kicking a ball in Miami. The announcement today was about David Beckham exercising his franchise rights in Miami. Let's count it off, shall we? Let's count off exactly where we are in this project. No stadium.
No stadium.
No investors.
No investors, but it's not that hard for David Beckham to get some investors, Nick.
Agree. No public funding.
Fantastic. He's a man of the people. He might as well become mayor.
That's great. No team? No existing team?
Not a big deal.
No existing fan base?
Doesn't really matter.
3 failures per 4.
That's the problem.
So if
that's one problem.
So if you take all of this, and look, I applaud Beckham, by the way, for this. I really do. I wish, and I don't want to sound like a naysayer, and I'm not somebody, I'm not sitting, there's no schadenfreude here for me. I'm not sitting up on a pedestal looking and hoping and wanting for failure. I actually want this experiment to be a massive, massive success, because this is our game, folks. This is our league here in the United States. We want nothing but success. But I am really, really worried about this. I tell you what, Danny, let's go to the phones, shall we?
Yes.
I know we have Idaho, our Twitter handle, Idaho United. Real name is Ed. Ed, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
All right, thank you. So,
Hey, bud.
so what's your thoughts about this, Ed?
Well, for one thing, as you said, I mean, the only thing said is
Turn
the
Danny up just a
franchise rights,
touch.
But what I have to say is they if they don't have anything to invest themselves into it themselves, they're in trouble. Which is if he ever has any investors or anybody, they got to really fulfill the promise of investing into the new stadium, or they're in trouble, because Jeff Loria, the owner of the Marlins, he's put the community on hostage, and he's drained the funds of the Miami people into a new stadium. So now, now it's all drained, and he has no choice. He's really got to fulfill his promise to put in his own money for the new stadium.
Hey, you know what, Ed? We got an absolutely horrible connection. I'm going to ask you to hang up and dial us back. Sounds like you're talking to us from a can with a string pulled all the way from Miami.
Although we do have some listeners like that.
Yeah, that's true. Give us a call.
I'll call right back.
All right, yeah, please give us a call back. He brings up a good point. I mean, we're looking at the situation in Miami historically. Look, the Miami Heat were an afterthought, Danny, until they decided to buy 3 of the best players in the world.
Hold on. This is David Beckham. This is Miami. This is wealthy investors. This team doesn't necessarily need to sell out every match to succeed. This team can create a ton of revenue on friendly matches. They can bring in big players that want to play with Becks. There's huge commercial potential for players that come in. I think the way this team will be constructed and put together financially will be far more different, Nick, than other teams that need to be in the black every year to maintain what they've done. I think that this is a different approach for David Beckham, and they're not going to need to put 25,000 in the seats every game.
Well, we can we're going to continue this discussion. Let's bring back Ed. Ed, are you in a better connection for us?
I hope so. Could you hear me all right?
You still sound so-so, but let's have at it, shall we?
Yep.
Sounds great on the air, guys.
All I'm saying is that they got to
Turn down the return audio from us, Steve, a little bit.
And his investors, whoever they are, need to fulfill their promise to investing into the new stadium, because Jeffrey Loria has already drained
That sounds fine.
the Miami people's well into putting their own money into new.
Oh, I think now we did lose him.
Yeah, we did here, but he is in Idaho. Do they have phone lines up there?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Danny, but it didn't sound like a very good phone line to me. But
No, I know. Probably for our online listeners as well. Those of you joining us, watch WSR.com. The question of the day: what should they name this team? What do you think this team should be named? What was it? Miami Sound Machine, Nick? Do you disagree with that last statement I made that this group? This team needs to put 25,000, 20,000 butts in the seats to be able to succeed. I just think it's going to be built on different numbers, different principles, different mentalities. This is going to be the place, the team outside of Galaxy for European friendlies for the power clubs.
You don't think NYCFC is?
No.
Really?
Not at all. Not at all. They want their players to train more in a Miami type of setting, even though it is quite humid in Florida that time of year. There's indoor facilities. Listen, David, Sheikh Mansour running NYCFC, he didn't play for Manchester United, AC Milan, Real Madrid, and Paris Saint-Germain, okay? David Beckham played for those 4 clubs. His relationship with the clubs is still pretty strong. And for someone to play for top-level clubs like that, weren't we just talking about Michael Owen and his tattered relationship with his former clubs? For David Beckham to play for those teams and for those fan bases to still love and adore him, all those clubs will flock to play in Miami and flock to play friendlies with Beckham. And we both know those friendlies create incredible revenue potential.
I think this is an absolute load of codswallop.
But then what? You think he shouldn't be putting a team in Miami?
No,
there's no way a Miami team succeeds? What?
What's
the problem?
Not for a minute, Danny. Not for a minute. I think David Beckham has earned the right to do whatever the heck he wants. I think I applaud him wanting to put up an MLS team. I'm all for it. I think it's great. I'm supportive of it, and all the above. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think this franchise is starting off with some serious issues. And by the way, we are having some serious issues with the Sports Byline Radio Network, Danny. But we will pick that one up here as we keep dropping from them. But that's all right. The serious issues going on right now are very simply the fact that there is no team, no existing supporters base, nothing else like that to go on with, and MLS's new model going forward is that is what they're requiring. They want new teams that come into the league to have all of those things, and this team just doesn't have it. So they have to build it from the ground up, and I think it's going to be a real problem.
I understand what you're saying, but this is David Beckham. He's not
so
putting.
What? So
he's
who
not
goes
putting
to see a
Major
team,
League
Danny,
Soccer franchise in Sheboygan.
Who cares who the owner is?
He's not owning a club in Des Moines, Iowa.
Danny,
I'm sorry, Ed Hardy is not creating Idaho United.
Look,
all right?
Danny, how many people will honestly go to see Chelsea because of Roman Abramovich? Okay, how many people go
What are you talking about?
The fanfare,
Roman Abramovich does not have. David Beckham is the most famous human being on the planet. He is the most famous human on the planet. Period. Can you disagree with that?
No, but I think when you start to get into the doldrum days of the season, okay, in the MLS, right. I don't think anyone's going to give a snot who the owner is. I think year 2, year 3, no one's going to care who the owner of the team is. Beckham will have moved on to another project. He'll be living back in Buckingham Palace or wherever it is he's going to be. I don't think anyone cares.
What do you think he should have done then? Do you think maybe he should have, tried to reincarnate Chivas USA out here in LA?
Well, no, they don't have a supporters base either, Danny.
Right.
No, I think what you do...
I mean, what do you think? There's only 3 cities that Beckham would own a team in. New York, Miami, LA. Other than that, it's not happening. Okay? It's just not happening.
Yeah, maybe Chivas would be a good one, but maybe he should have gone in, and maybe the Orlando team would have been a better team for Beckham to come in and buy out because they have an existing fan base.
The British people in general, Nick, love Orlando. Orlando is a serious tourism destination for so many people I know living in England, and I think Orlando would have been a great possibility. It's going to be a very interesting study. I'm excited about it because being the student of the game I am. It's going to be a very interesting study in the sports market in Miami, in the growth of the game in the United States, in David Beckham's star power. there's so many factors at play here that can really make this such an enthralling study in American sport, in soccer, and in Bex himself. So I'm excited about it for that reason alone.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, Danny. You know, for me, the jury's out. Not the jury's out on David Beckham. The jury for me is never out on David Beckham. I think he's a fantastic marketer. He's a great ambassador of the game. He's a wonderful player in his day. I mean, all of that, I am very pro David Beckham, and I'm very pro this Miami team working. But, you know, I just think the reality on the ground is that this team does not have an existing supporters base. And, you know, again, look around the world at the successful football clubs. Name me one football club that packs it in and week out, where the supporters aren't the people that live right there. I mean, we're talking about putting this down at the port so they can get the people coming off the cruise ships. I mean, you know, you have to, how are you going to, you don't sell season tickets to people coming off cruise ships. I mean, you know, they don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you, they don't know if this is the greatest tourist trap in the world. They don't know if this is Disneyland on a Disney World on the football pitch, or this is Manchester United reborn. They can't make up their mind what this is. That to me has me worried. That to me is a problem.
Well, listen, you say, oh, Seattle had a built-in fan base. Nick, they average like 40,000 a game now, and their average attendance in the USL First Division in 2008, before they moved over, was less than 3,500.
Yeah, but Danny,
so
that's a
that's
core
not
basis.
Exactly a built-in fan base, really. That's just, you know, that's just spinning the facts in your favor, I think. I got a couple tweets here if I can read.
Yeah, sure.
Actually,
I think we do have to go to break here. How are we doing?
All right.
Okay, we go.
Let's hit the breaks. Let's hit the tweets on the other side of the break. Hit us up on Twitter at World Soccer Radio.
All right, we're going to step aside, take a break. Although I don't know if that's music, but
that is music.
All right, we're going to take a break here. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA Radio Network. Nick and Danny with you. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere. Once again, weeknights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we're with you here on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah, hold on.
MyTV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MyTV. That's 877-499-MyTV.
All right, welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA Radio Network. I'm Nick Geber, along with Danny Page. We apologize for the few technical difficulties we've had today from our remote studios. I am still in the Vegas brothel. Danny is still in Santa Barbara, and we are, of course, having a few technical issues, which we had none of really yesterday, Danny. I don't know what is today. The gremlins have got in.
Yeah, we're living large here in Vegas and in SB. It was cold today, though, Nick. 64 degrees in San. All right, okay.
It was 80 in Miami.
Oh my gosh. Let me get some of these tweets here because there's a
for
lot of them that have been coming in from our crew here tuning in. Hit us up at World Soccer Radio. Bernie Wilkinson, regular listener of the show and a Chelsea supporter, says, I'm surprised at MLS's support as Orlando City had to prove themselves as a solid team first. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. But,
I agree completely with you. That's it. Of course, no Beckham. Beckham is the
How about John P. O'Donnell Jr. at Oh My 96? Fantastic handle, by the way, John. John says Salt Lake, Philadelphia, and Toronto didn't have a team before they started. They have a supporters group. Absolutely. Those teams are supported well. There was no team before.
Oh, yeah, there was. Absolutely. There was a team in Philadelphia.
What was it?
Wasn't there a minor league team in Philadelphia? Wasn't Toronto? Didn't Toronto have a minor league team before they put one in there?
Not that.
Are you sure?
That comes off the top of my head.
All right. Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong. But the new model is all about. MLS has stated it themselves. The new model is about taking existing franchises and moving them up the pyramid. That is why they're a franchise. He is not a franchise. David Beckham is a marketing machine. David Beckham is a world-renowned athlete and model and spokesman and celebrity. But again, Danny, 2-3 years down the line here, who cares who the owner of the team is? If the team is winning, no one will go see it in Miami. That I promise you.
I'll tell you this: first season, the Miami Sound Machine, or whatever you want to call it, they will have the highest female attendance in Major League Soccer. You don't understand the effect this guy has on women.
Wait a minute. Did that happen? Did that happen here in LA when Beckham? Did that happen in LA when Beckham came?
Absolutely, it did. Women will want to go and see David Beckham's team. There's a brilliant point to begin with, right there.
That's a rubbish point, Danny.
It's fantastic.
It's a rubbish point.
I've got one more comment here. Joshua Tomlinson at Josh Ola. No one might care in the middle of the season who the owner is, but let's hope they have a strong team by then to drive the buzz. And then he follows, and this is the point I wanted to get to. The question is, who are the players he talked about that called asking him to come? You know who the first one is?
Kaka.
No. Nope. Bigger than that. Bigger.
Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, please.
Cristiano Ronaldo will play for the Miami team. Period. I guarantee you. He will play for the Miami team. Now, he might not play the first year, obviously. But Cristiano Ronaldo, when is this team guaranteed to start by, 2020? Cristiano Ronaldo will play for
this
team.
Repeat what you just said, Danny.
What, are you recording it?
No.
Cristiano
Back up.
2020?
Thank you.
What's that?
So we're talking about a team that's planning on playing 5 years from now, 6 years from now. There's no stadium. They have only Simon Fuller's the only investor right now with them. They got this I forget his name, Mauricio something or other bloke. But they don't have a stadium. And once again, this is not a group that's looking at building a $20 million stadium. They're looking at building a $300 million stadium with no public money. Let me tell you something, Danny. I've been speaking of late to a number of people involved in the stadium building process. The one thing they tell me over and over again is that soccer stadiums on their own don't pan out as investment vehicles. In other words, very, very difficult in a soccer stadium to generate enough revenue to maintain the stadium. And then you're looking at Miami, a city with existing stadiums anyway, so they're going to be competing with them for all the non-soccer events. I mean, this is going to be very, very difficult. I'm not saying they can't do it, Danny. I'm just saying, let's calm down a little bit. Let's look, we have a terrible track record in Miami, not just for soccer, but for all sports. You have no public funding, you have no stadium, you have no existing supporter base, you have no existing team. David Beckham is taking on a huge gamble.
I got a good one. At Stephen C. Brandt says, yes, Ibrahimovic and Ronaldo team up. Finally,
yeah,
in
no,
6 years.
Right. So, and the salary cap we have in MLS is what exactly?
Designated players. It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter to a degree. They can only have what 30 in Miami, just as easily as we can in Santa Barbara. You seem really excited. I'm more interested to see what happens with NYCFC. It's a bigger market. It's a bigger football investor. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there for me.
Ed, here's another good one from Ed Hart, who called in earlier. When we were talking about his bad connection from Idaho, you know, he says, Nick and Danny, how about Joey Barton starts Blackfoot City, which is his small town in Idaho?
Nice. I love it. Perfect. Great idea. I love it. That's terrific.
Oh, that is terrific. All right.
Or even better, you know, we could have Nicholas Anelka go to where's the Klan? Oh, I mean, where's the Nazi Party really big? We could have Anelka go there and do his Cornell and march through Skokie. I mean, you know, come on, please, people, please.
Nick, I think here's what I think is happening in this discussion between us. I am a young, idealistic, positive individual, and you are just a stubborn old fogey. Okay,
I'm not a stubborn, Danny. I've seen it. I've been there. I've done that. I've watched it. I've seen it happen time and time again. So, you know, history.
What was World War I like?
Well, it was awful, Danny. And, you know, the clothing was so rough and ready. The trenches were awful. But let me tell you, more importantly than that, Danny, the food was lousy. And for me, that's very important.
You didn't like all of that salted beef?
No, salt beef is not my thing. But look, getting back to football for a minute, you know, we've seen this. It's been done. There is a reason that Major League Soccer wants existing soccer-specific stadiums. They want existing fan base. They want a franchise run by people that know how to run it. By the way, in that instance, I don't have a worry about Beckham, by the way, because he will bring in people that know football. Don't worry about that.
Your problem is not with Beckham at all. Let's be
clear.
No,
I have zero problem with Beckham.
With Miami.
No, and I have zero problem with Miami as a city. In fact, I love Miami. It's a wonderful place. It's a vibrant place. Lots of great energy. Multicultural melting pot. Yeah, no, it's a wonderful city. Miami's lovely. A bit too hot for me. When you're as fat as I am, Danny, you tend to sweat profusely when it's very, very damp down there. And you know, it's really good. Do you want me to discuss what happens? Anyway, never mind.
We just lost like 30 YouTube viewers. In a matter.
By the way, I hope you like the shirt I'm wearing on YouTube.
I know what's up with your Hawaiian shirt.
I'm hitting it up Vegas style. This is from Vegas Royalty, which was a really cool clothing company that I endorsed. Was a sponsor of a previous show that I had, and then they went out of business. So maybe.
Why is it crazy? Why is it?
I hope that's not an indicator of my ability to deliver the goods for sponsors.
Why is it crazy to think that Cristiano Ronaldo would play for this team?
It's not crazy to think that at all.
What?
I think
Let me ask you this.
Because everybody retires in Florida.
Right. Exactly. For a designated player that is a European or South American native, right? What American city is better to play in? And the answer is that there is not one. It's far closer to home than Los Angeles.
Vegas.
It is a warm weather climate all the time.
Vegas.
They're playing in Miami. Vegas is a good idea. That's fine. There's no team there. That's fine. But they're not going to go to New York unless they're Northern European, hence Thierry Henry. I think it's the perfect home for some of these Spanish players. Xavi would probably call Beckham. He's ready to go if he doesn't end up, you know, signing with New York or something like that. This is could be a really exciting and fun roster. They just have to balance the books with 8,000 people in the stands in mid-July.
That's the problem, Danny. That's the problem. And, you know, they will overcome it. Don't get me wrong. But are they going to have the time? And we are at the point right now in going forward. I mean, this is a serious issue. All right. We have lost Danny Page, and we will bring him back here in just a second to you. So don't go anywhere. We do promise that. In the meantime, we are coming to you on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network, and I apologize profusely to everybody for the problems that we're having here. But I think at this point we are probably going to end it off a little early today because of this and pick up the discussion on the other side. World Soccer Radio, we will be back with you later. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. I hope that you will tune in, and I do promise that we will not have these problems tomorrow. Thanks so much, and apologize once again for the problems.